Sure.
We're good? Cool.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for coming, guys. So I think the thing said like MatterHackers ideas to reality. That was super vague because I didn't prepare a ton of stuff. But I figured I'm here in Sweden and we're MatterHackers. We're based in the US. So I'll first kind of tell you guys who we are for anybody that doesn't know who MatterHackers is within the sort of answer the why is Abe in Sweden question, because that's a fair one. And then hopefully show you guys some of the tools that we build to help the community. Helping community sounds like this super jargony thing, but we really do care about that a lot. So hopefully I can show you some cool things. And then finally, I will give you a sneak peek at our software that's in development. Some questions. All right, so first of all, what is MatterHackers? Who knows about MatterHackers? Raise your hand if you're aware of who the heck MatterHackers is or isn't. All right, we got a couple in the crowd that don't know. Okay, so we are a US retailer of 3D printing. We started in 2012. The company was actually meant to be a software company. So two guys literally like startup company, California thing, like in a garage, started writing matter control or software. That's like a printer controller, slicing engine, all that stuff. Along the way, it's like a free open source program, and it turns out that doesn't keep the lights on. So they started Tuesday, and with selling those rolls of filament, there was like a couple of times in like starting any company that you get really lucky. We got lucky. MakerBot was out of stock of filament, like totally. So MatterHackers sold a lot of filament that week, all like 50 spools that we had. But that sort of started this engine of, maybe we can not just do matter control, but maybe we can sell it for filament. That went well. Fast forward a couple of years, we start selling machines. But always at our root is like good online assets. So, 2012, 20, those turned into like something that the community started to like. They started to get a lot of like search volume, things like that, because it was a bit of a, like, forums existed and there was a lot of like talking in between specific people, but sort of a lack of repository of places. So I don't know who in here has been to MatterHackers.com. Maybe you have, maybe you haven't, and I couldn't even statistically tell you whether you were looking for shopping or maybe you found us through some of those online assets. But we'll just start with the basics, and this is MatterHackers.com. If you wanted to buy stuff, yes, you could easily accidentally go buy stuff. But for this talk, I'll tell you more about like this recent articles. So this is an ever-evolving list that's on our homepage of like things that I hope are very useful to anybody who's starting out in 3D printing or been 3D printing for ages and looking to do something very specific. We so we have a marketing department that actually has engineers working on making sure that anything we're creating is relevant. So even 2 or 3 years ago, there was an effort to, at least I made a bet to say, I think content in the next couple of years is going to be taken in by video. So you may have run across MatterHackers videos sometime along the way. And that is because each art graphic is just like loaded with text, and Google knew how to find it. But when you get there, I really thought, like 2 years ago, I thought we need videos at the top of every one of these things. And this is, I guess Tom was making videos at this point early on, and that's like really great. He's been a huge asset to the community. But sort of doubling on what he's doing, and this was before other content creators were growing our community. So all this to say, like, even here in Europe, like, you're probably not going to shop on MatterHackers.com. Maybe some people have, but
it's a pity.
It's a pity. Shipping's.
I said you should extend over here to
Yeah,
Europe.
we're looking. Yeah, we'll see if we can't make that happen. I don't know when or how, but we'll see if we can't make it happen. But we're just trying to get the information into as many people's hands, and that's people who are starting out 3D printing, or maybe have been doing it for a while, or maybe have never heard it before. So a lot of the stories we share are that 3D printers can be something that are used like on work environment. Like there's still a lot of people out there who think, oh, 3D printers are like, they're really expensive things. Little do you know, like for $1,000, you can have one on your desk and be so like, I am a mechanical engineer. Printers were expensive until my first little rep. Because I'm just gonna like back up and say, the basics are like, we reach out to the community a lot. Some of you guys maybe have seen that, maybe you haven't seen that. Sometimes it's in the form of helping content creators create content, telling, spreading the word and doing a really great job. We care to make sure that they are able to do really good work. But when I say care about the community, that's not just supporting them, but it's also creating these assets, making sure that the community has a place to go. We have forums, you can get lost on all those as well. But it really is like a genuine care. So why is Dave in Europe? To see what like the European version of Murph is. I was at Murph 3 weeks ago, and Tom was there. It was really cool. This is equally as cool. Like what you guys are doing here is exactly what Murph was like 3 years ago. So fast forward 3 years, I think this could be genuinely the seeds of something that's planted. You know, this event is 2 years old now. I think in 5 years, it could be the European version of Murph. So I've been talking about the guys that, thank goodness for them, who like coordinated this whole thing. You guys are doing it right. Like, how different is the feel here from where, like, middle of Indiana, Murph?
The same, more or less.
Pretty much the same, yeah. You've got like some industry that's helping to make sure that these events happen. So everybody who's got a booth out there, go definitely talk to them. They'll want to talk to you because they've got information, and you'll want to talk to them because they got really cool products. They're the people that like make sure that this event can happen and stuff. Everybody who's brought their own printers, like that is the coolest thing. Like me as a 3-year-old or 4-year-old, like understanding what 3D printers are and how they exist, like I love that this is a thing because my engineering mind just gets blown by 3D printers every day. But to realize that there's kids walking around that are going to be the future engineers. So to kind of consolidate that all, like we want to promote everything and help the community teach kids how to do 3D printing, grow the community on a bunch of stuff. We want that to happen, and whatever method content creators creating people with their first 3D printer and their 10th 3D printer, and you know, we can go through any of these articles on the front homepage, but like if you wanted to dye nylon, we've got the article for that. If you want to ASA filament, which is a really cool version of ABS that's UV sensitive or insensitive, so you can use it outside a little bit better. E3D hot end comparison. So you can get wild. Our search bar works pretty well. It searches within stuff. So anything you're looking for, great. Anything we don't have, we take community input. So if you guys have anything that you want back, we're happy to post that information and spread it to anybody that's willing to. One of our, like, this is actually a really cool article, because if you ever have any interest in different materials, yeah, we go through like plays and ABS down to interesting materials like NGen or glow in the dark, Nylon X. Nylon X is actually my favorite material. Is like the strongest thing ever, and to add stiffness to it. It's a good time. But you can learn on here like kind of some general printer settings to start with. Again, this is like really a good way to start to learn about what you're comfortable with today. It could be PLA, ABS, PETGs, but what else is out there? And how do you get started, and how the first settings, what materials should we be looking at? Some good things, and there's some warnings in here about things to look for you know, other materials. I hope you guys moving forward, and if you ever have any feedback, just send me an email. There's like a contact support button. Say Dave told me I could talk to him, and then I answer those emails. Turns out. So that's most of our. Do you have any questions or why we do it, or how we do it, or like supporting the community in general? I don't want to be this like I'm just talking to you guys. Make the conversation.
I bought mine 6 months ago, and it was all I use getting started. Your page, Tom's guides.
Cool.
Very helpful.
Yeah, we hope that they work in tandem, right? So if you have to calibrate your extruder one day. Tom's got a video, we've got a video. Like there's an article here. Tom's got a forum where you can go contribute to. Like we hope that all these are just in support of the community to get you up and running with PLA, with ABS, calibrating your extruder, installing a new hot end. Like E3D's here, they've got a great platform. They've got like 150 different nozzles. So we kind of break down what those nozzles are. And honestly, it's just, how do we think of this content? How does Tom think of this content? Like, I don't know, what was my problem today that I fixed? I spent like 10 hours fixing my 3D printer to solve some problem because the ABS jammed because it had, I don't know, something wrong with it. We just we document that. And when we document it, we share it. And the thing that me as an engineer actually has difficulty with is like, not just solving the problem, but solving the problem and then sharing the answer, right? So that's where we're hoping we're giving back to the community by being a resource for sharing those things. So yeah, thanks. I'm glad we could help. Like genuine, the reason I'm here is to say like, hey, we can help. Like, let us know how that is, and if there's any gaps, we can let us know, and we'll try to help. Any other questions about content or anything like that? Clear as mud? Awesome. So I think I answered some of the basic questions, and that's like kind of a pretty brief overview of hackers without trying to say like, because that's super lame. Can I show you guys some fun stuff that we've been working on? Matter control. You've used matter control once? Twice?
I would be interested in trying it.
Okay. So it is like I said, it's kind of the resist. Two of the founders of MatterHackers are programmers. They wrote video games. They sold that company to Amazon, actually. Sort of hated working at Amazon, and now they started their own. What they saw was Repetier host. This looks terrible. I think we can fix this. There's like room for improvement here. It was kind of, there weren't very many good options on your printer in 2011, 2012, that time frame. So we started writing matter control. So what is matter control? It is like an empty page here. It is slicing. So anything you need to control your printer is available. So, we go to slice settings, and it's like exact same talk before, and we just, we can say you can change your layer height and all that thickness, and you've got perimeter settings, and you've got Joe walking in with a camera. I just told him we try to support the community. Am I a liar?
No.
Okay, good.
Far from it.
Good.
You support me, I'm part of the community, so.
Even more, you're helping the community grow, and that's, I think, one of the best parts. I'm getting distracted. So, matter control. Other options that you are using. What are you guys using? Kira mostly?
Cool.
Kira, Simplify. I forgot about Simplify. The paid for one. Paying for slicers is just starting to get silly, I think, but everybody loves it, and it actually works. We're friends with the Simplify guys. They write great software. It's just crazy to think that some of the free stuff can't keep up. Kira's great. I use Kira all the time, actually. But around the office, we generally, like with all of our machines, are using matter control. It's being tested all the time. We have developers on it. We have a testing whole group on it. Developers are writing testing code to make sure we're not breaking it too frequently. we do break it a lot. In the experimental version, not in the public version. So this is actually experimental matter control. So anybody who's used to matter control might not recognize this layout because it's the new version that'll get launched in hopefully a month or two, but 4 months. So it's got all the basic slicing. We've written our own slicer, so matter slice exists constantly being quality. It is the objectively the best slicer that exists. Large, the main programmer for matter, like do a lot of calculations. Again, he comes from video games, so rendering and visuals are actually a huge thing, and the mathematics to visuals to make sure that you're always hiding that every 3D print has a seam. We hidden in the most negative corner of any print on every layer, which is important. So we've got all these basics, nothing. There's a lot of special work, but it's all things. Some unique things. So why have people used matter control in the past? Software bed leveling is maybe one of the biggest assets that matter control has to offer. So you don't need firmware bed leveling sensors or anything. You can actually do it all. Firmware is not that smart at the end of the day, and we've got like this 8-bit controller. Maybe if you're lucky, a 32-bit controller. Like some of like the root of matter control is actually to take the brains out of the printer itself. They will continue to get smarter, and that is great. But have the software, which has like this giant computing power. Let's do this. This do some of the work. So software, I think, is one of the best things. So you can go in and probe your bed, and it's literally like take the sheet of paper, make sure there's a consistent gap. How do you want to do that? We've got 3 different options. Essentially, you can just do 3 random points or a triangle of points. So if any tilt that the bed has, you can find that. We can do a pizza pie where you take a perimeter. It's really good for deltas. Deltas are a nightmare to calibrate. This like saves any work if you guys are ever building deltas. Use the software.
I can actually vouch for that.
Oh yeah.
That is the only software I use to level deltas.
So like buy a raw stock Max, it comes like the recommended software is Matter Control. We worked a lot in the development with CMCNC to make sure that bed leveling works really well. So you can deltas, you can divide it up in a pizza pie, or you can do like the 9, instead of 3 random probes, you can actually do 9 points or 15 points. There's actually a variable in there that you can write in as many points as you want, depending on how crazy you want to get. And it will account like tilting or like a dished bed. We can augment the G code, the first layer, to make sure that a dished bed always has a consistent first layer height, even if it's in a bow in 3 directions, or like super messed up in some wonky direction. If you put enough points in there that we can do the geometry and calculate in between that, your first layer will always be good. And that's like, I think, one of the most powerful tools. How do you do it? You can pretty much go into the control of the printer thing and do that whole calibration. There's a whole menu. When you have a printer selected, you can say what type of print leveling you want to do, whether it's the 13-point circle or the 9-point mesh bed leveling or this generic 3-point really quick stuff.
Is it with like a piece of paper then, if you don't have any sensors?
Yeah, if you have no sensors, use the piece of paper. And what does the piece of paper do? Well, it's consistent, and all you need is consistency. There's no like right amount of pinching. It's all just making sure that it's the same. So if you have no sensors, yes, you can just use a piece of paper, and there's a little wizard. I don't have anything connected, so I can't actually walk through it. But
any kind of printer, even
anything.
Custom.
To Ultimakers, anything in between. If you do have a probe, let's say you have a probe, we worked with BL Touch to actually if you send a G29 to do auto bed leveling, it sends data back. We reach at that step, that the little trigger. So Matter Control is integrated deeply with BL Touches. There's like, literally, if you go to your printer and your filament, there is literally a checkbox. Where is it? It's under the printer, I think. Anyhow, it's around there. Where you check, do you have a sensor where we can get information? We get information, we remember that. So even once you level your bed, it's like kind of confusing because most people are used to firmware bed leveling. What does that mean? It means you level your bed once, like so. I've got a machine here. You can level your bed once, ever. And Matter Control remembers that printer, the last time you leveled it, and you can actually bring up the data, the mesh data, and you can augment it if you needed to, but just re-level it if it's old or wrong. We remember your printer, we remember the last time you leveled it, and you sliced that. We actually take into account that augmentation of the first layer. And so the G code we send out has, let's like literally just say you've got a valley in the middle of your bed. 0 going across the X plane is this. Like, so we augment that first layer, first couple layers to make sure that you get good bed adhesion.
Is Matter Control talking back to you? So you can collect data?
Yeah. During the leveling process, yes.
Yeah, so you kind of have like a pool of information that helps people in the future, like that?
The bed leveling is really specific to the machine, right? So you can level your bed as many times as you want. You don't need to do it. You don't need to do
not only bed leveling, but in total, you know, so maybe you get information and then you can share in the future.
You can share any printer profile with a friend and just like send the printer profile, or we have a repository where you can download printer profiles.
Okay.
Yeah.
I also preview with 6 months, and I'm using Simplify. If I use, I have a one house, I use paper method and with screws.
Yep.
If I use this tool,
yes,
can I still continue with Simplified 3D? Where does it sit? The outcome of the analyze?
Yeah, for sure. So you can actually slice in Simplify. You can import that G code into Matter Control, and you can level your in Matter Control, and then we'll augment those layers that were previously sliced. Yeah.
Okay, so then I take the stick card, including the layers. Yeah.
It's like a little bit of a sticky situation. There might be cases where like Simplify, you need it for certain things. But at the end of the day, hopefully MatterSlice like can be a good enough solution for you where you don't need to go through that. But yeah, there's definitely cases where Simplify is a better slicing engine. It's sort of what they're focusing on. But yeah, you can use it either way. We can import G code or you can slice the file. Yep. Super easy.
This compensation that you do for, say, if you have a curved bed or something, is it done with a raft or is it?
No, it's just the first. Yeah, no raft needed. I live a life where rafts seem ridiculous. That's my own opinion. It's not right.
No, I don't like rafts. But,
no, it augments the first layer. So the first layer is just a little bit different than what 0 is. So we augment 0. 0 is still 0, but we calculate that plane, and that plane is redefined as 0.
You do it like 5 layers. I think Marlin does 5 layers or something.
There's a threshold of layers. You can actually choose how many layers you want. I think in the slicing engine and stuff. But mostly bed leveling is like pretty close, so it doesn't affect anything past the first layer for the most part.
So the million-dollar question is, will you be experimenting with custom supports?
Exactly what
I should have paid you to ask that question.
That's why I'll send you an invoice.
Yes. Fair enough. So there's like slicing engine. Yes, we have a slicing engine. It keeps up with the Joneses. It's a great slicing engine. It's the only thing we use in the office. Bed leveling, it's a reason that people went to Matter Control. Simplify, you might justify that you're paying for custom supports. give me 3 seconds and we'll get there. One of the coolest features of we're calling Matter right now, it's on Matter Control 1.7.4. So if you go download Matter Control now, it'll be like, 1.7 something. And it will look very different because it does not have these features in it. You'll notice like folders over here, and that's weird to have in a slicing engine. So what does this mean? This means like maybe you want to drag a cube over and like play around with a cube top or something like that.
So a bit like Windows 3D building.
Yeah. I mean, it's like a bunch of different things. But you can now build in Matter Control. Can you build like crazy engineering elegant things and like ditch SolidWorks? No, I'm still going to use SolidWorks. It's a very expensive program. The capabilities are not there yet, but to like mess around in a space with 3D, like why did we do this? Because so many people like 3D printing and education and kids learning it like is such an important thing. Tinkercad's an awesome program, but it's online based, so a lot of people can't get to that. Fusion 360 is a great thing, but kind of like more down this engineer route, like you got to understand what extrusions are and stuff. You described a case where you might design something in a program, import it to Simplify 3D, and then do your printing with Matter Control. What is Matter Control? We're just trying to help people out, honestly. There was a problem, can't level my bed, this sucks, this is a terrible experience. All right, we'll help and we'll write a solution where you can do it in Matter Control. We like barely even hard sold it and people didn't know it existed unless like you really needed it. And this is another thing that like, let's just remove as many barriers to people succeeding in 3D printing right off the bat. So you can actually download this version right now. Just search MatterControl Experimental. I think only the PC build is good. The Mac and Linux aren't up yet, but MatterControl Experimental, you can go download it now. So Joe is asking a very good question about like, maybe I've got this sphere and maybe I want to drag supports would be. Maybe I only want supports on like one side of that sphere. You can now, I'm going to be lost because all the buttons changed because this, it updates every day if you're on the experimental version. You can go on GitHub and see all the activity and stuff. It's free, it's open source. But I didn't say on one half, but on it's not gonna, it's an example. So what is this? This is literally just tools that we're building to get people started in one spot and try to help out. It's not that crazy of a play other than, hey, we wanted to help people out. Why does it exist? Exactly to help that people out, but also customized support. Like that's something that you got to keep up with in the industry, right? So we got developers working on what customizable support is. What's the easiest solution? Make one of our blocks customizable. It doesn't have like the pillars that you can add and delete yet. We're working on that too, as you can imagine. But right now, customizable support is an option in there. This is kind of cool. What can you do with it? I don't know. I was playing around over the weekend and you can see I built this like little, it started to look like a little like bicycle clamp and then I put horns on it. I don't know why. And I threw my name on the side because that's possible too. But how did I create it? You can kind of see like the method for which I created it was like to just take the base and add like a semicircle to it, do some subtracts of some like very basic shapes. But you've seen what some of the people on the internet can do with squares and circles and rectangles. It is amazing. So like, as basic as it is with just these tools, I hope people go crazy with it and like we're blown away.
I'm quite sure those basic tools are more than enough to create parts for a 3D printer.
Absolutely, yes. RepRap still exists. I don't need to say that in this room, but yeah, man, you can do all that stuff. What are like some, so that's like basic stuff. What are some cool things? Well, as always, this has been in Matter Control forever. Like a text creator, maybe you want this to say Dave. Like now you have an STL that says Dave, and you can take that STL and you can put it on the top of this square, and it'll be a square that says Dave. It's going to be awesome. Let's make that square bigger.
A question.
Yeah.
The output, is it G-code only?
No, STL. You can export as STL.
But to the printer, I mean.
G-code only. No, we work with Sailfish.
Yeah.
So S3G or G-code. There's some other like in-between ones that we've hacked into, but I don't know what that list is off the top of my head. Most of G-code.
The Sailfish conversion, is it external?
Question I do not know the answer to.
Okay.
To be honest, I'm not in the weeds enough in the development to know how we converted that, but it was like 2.5 years ago we figured it out. I don't know how we can export to S3G for sure. Yeah. So MakerBots, we can work on a MakerBot. Yeah. So not only can you like put your name on top, you can also like you can undo things. So like I deleted that accidentally, and we can undo that. So it's got like some cool capabilities. You could also like subtract the name Dave from the square there, like I did on the side. Because of the parametric history, it's got some history. So if I accidentally change a name, you can change from down the road to say Sally or something like that and update it. Also, image converter is something we've had. It's actually been like a paid for add-on. It's like $15, and you can take any picture in the world and like convert it into like any black and white picture and convert that to an STL. Just like extrudes it, and you can pick the shape and stuff. It's pretty cool. It's like actually a lot of capability. That's been around for like 3 years, I think, almost. So what we've actually, the most interesting part potentially about Matter Control 2.0 is going to be design apps. So if we click on here and we pick design apps, we have currently 4 of them. That'll grow hopefully. But let's take, so what is a design app? Think of it as a card holder is probably the best example because we designed this. We took the basic shapes and we made a card holder and we put MatterHackers on the top. But what is, so you could share this design, and Thingiverse is full of card holders with names that are not yours. Awesome. So what we did was we created a tool where you can share the card holder now, and the name is no longer something that's part of the STL. It's the variable, just like you can change the name at any time. So this is like essentially hand coded at the moment. It's got some like OpenSCAD backgrounds to it, where you can imagine like you define certain variables, and you also define like limitations of where those can go. So in design apps, we have editors, right? So the editors are going to be here, and for the card holder, one of the variables is name. So let's say you shared this card holder design app with your friends, and you wanted it to be, you know, Dave's. We automatically put Dave in there.
Is it multi-material?
So right now it's different colors, and I can go probably like this other part would be easier to show you multi-material. So you can define this as, there's this materials tab, which material do you want? 1, 2, 3, 4. Right now you can define 4 different materials, and you can slice them independently, and then you can do the calibration to make sure, yeah, you get 4 parts. So it's all in here built. The materials right now are not based on how many extruders you have, but you can switch a box that links those 2 things. So you can design with constraints to the machine that you've chosen, essentially. But yes, you can make them different materials. When you make them different materials, you can choose different colors for those materials, just as like a way to look at it, but it also can define that material based on the material that you have in your, because that's what most people are doing. So within this design app, you can see you can change any of these variables. I also said we had image converter. So we have frozen computer. Frozen computer or crackle version of matter control. Could be either one. I'm open to either solution. Let's try this again. If you download experimental, you're in the weeds. I promise you'll find bugs. So we can go in here and change that. Or we can choose not the text version, which we've defined a plain and we've edited that as text, or you can throw an image in there. So we have the MatterHackers logo. Cool. What if you want to change that? I can select any picture that is like a 2D picture. You can also just, within here, you can say, hey, I want to find a picture on the internet. You can just do that. So it's really cool, the options you can do. The coolest part is we're not defining STLs here. We're just like showing parameters. This specific parameter is text. And actually to share this file is like almost zero data, because the card holder, for instance, is made up of a bunch of cubes and circles and stuff. We don't export the geometry. We export the history of where those cubes and like just points in space and scales. So that to share that file, to email that file is super tiny. I think it's called, what did he name it? X. It's like .mattercontrol, .mcx or something like that file. And those files are super tiny because they know the blocks and the roots that were made to create those and the variables that they are. So Matter Control is open source. We are going to have a platform. Probably the thing you see a block of those things are, or different colors, or how many extruders. Look, we got like a little coin. Could do the same thing here. Change the picture that is on that coin to make it your own. The whole idea here is trying to help people get started. B, building tools to make things your own, because 3D printer is all about customization. So why are we downloading files that have card holders without your name on it, and then how do you get your name off and put it back on? Like, it's a problem that we just decided to help with. And all this is building tools to try to get people started up and running with less friction. Again, go download it, give us feedback. I'm all ears. Experimental. And again, I promise you'll break it. You'll find report have opens. Yeah, it's helping out. But I think that's most of it. Any questions on matter control? Does it seem cool? Like, did we waste our time?
No.
No? Okay, good.
So, the experimental version is only for Windows, I guess.
Today. You can build a Linux version, but you gotta build it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the non-experimental was Linux or?
Windows, Mac, Linux. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So you can go download Matter Control for free right now. You can go download the experimental version and play around with the design tools and design apps. There's like a lot of other cool stuff. So there's so many cool things that are hidden in Matter Control. Like, I'm finding new ones every day. Like materials, you can obviously remember materials and stuff, but the materials that you remember, it highlights what that line is. And again, a problem we got into with schools is like, I want to change this to 210. I'm a student that changed things to 210 and the printer is now broken. How do we revert? Like, there was never any revert button. So now that went from orange to blue. Blue means I changed it. Hello, I changed it. It's like waving in the air up there. Let me dock this real quick. And you can, I think there's a thing up here that says, restore settings. So teachers love restore settings. And view just my settings. What are the things that are defined by the material the quality, or something that wildcarded changed, those are all like abundantly available now, because you don't remember what you changed from. You've got 10 prints in front of you, and you don't know which one changed when. We can go like settings, still actively change them, but they get, which is pretty helpful, even if you're just iterating and trying to optimize the 3D printer settings. So it was at 210, I hit this little button, it goes back to 205. I can go choose PET material, and it goes up to 2. There's just a lot of tools. It's all very discoverable. We're genuinely just trying to help out. Like even when you open Matter Control now, so we have this like tab system. Like we're trying to help out. Do you need materials? Do you need how-to guides? Do you need to get inspired for some project? How many, why does this exist? Because I open Instagram, I like refresh, and it's like, oh, I refreshed 30 seconds ago. There's nothing new there. Well, now when you open the place you're gonna go print, like go get inspired, like go print some of the things. Anything that we do designs of, we share those designs. We try to give back to the community in that way. So hopefully this is like, tying a nice bow on this conversation of trying to give it back to the community, trying to help out people. We're a US-based company, but we care about the community in general, which is here. So hopefully anything you guys have questions with, we're able to, not solve your problems, but like help out along the way. That's most of it. So
are there lots of printers out there, companies that produce printers that use Matter Control, and it's not obvious to the user that it is?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so
Yes.
it's kind of hidden, but it's there.
Everything CME, CNC, Robo, early on licensed our software many years ago. There's one, I learned that if you buy like some specific Mendel kit that comes with Matter Control, we didn't even know that. But yeah, I mean, it's this underground project where a ton of work has been done, that we're hoping with the launch of 2.0, there's some things to talk about that are no longer like, hey, yeah, we're keeping up with customizable support, but like, it's now a tool where you can go and you can, like, many of the things you do to go to be, within the 3D printing space from zero to hero are like here. Are they everything? No, they'll never be everything. You still have, like, I'm still going to use SolidWorks. So don't tell that to the developers, but like little tools for me to make a card holder, and I want to change the name for my wife's name and my coworkers' names, like that tool's there. Like we're just trying to make it easier for everybody, hopefully. So I think that's it. Any questions?
Yeah, I have one. I'm a little bit jumping back here regarding this support, customized support. What is the reason? Is it some patent involved in this, or is it just a hard thing to do, or because?
So you're about customizable support?
Yeah. Why? Because this is something that has been asked for a long time. I mean, many programs like Cura,
sure.
And I don't understand why.
So why do people want customizable support? Well, to answer this question,
why it's not there in the program?
Oh, why it's not automatically there?
Yeah, why has it been added into?
I think it's why it's so difficult for people to actually implement. However, there's Dream Idea Maker that has customizable support. I think there's Craftware that has customizable support as well.
So customizable support is becoming like a normal thing in conversation. Simplify made the pillars that you got add and delete stuff. Those are really awesome.
Because I didn't use it there, and I
certainly a thing to focus on. But let's go, like, you're not a person doing 3D printing anymore, but you're an alien who's dropped into the space, and you need to print this, and to print this, you need to print like that, and you need supports. Like, what's the solution? Is the alien going to say, oh, you should customize these supports? No, the alien's going to say, make your support generator not shit, so you don't need customized supports. So a lot of the focus, at least from Matter Control's slicing engine standpoint, is to make supports better. So how do you make supports better? This is like trade secret information that should be way more out there. But you have interface layers and you have air gap. If you know how to tune those settings, you do not need to customize any support. Just make your auto-generated support just like wisp away and then perfect surfaces underneath. It's totally possible with like non-automated, non-customizable supports. But in a 99.9%.
But if you go into that example for when I use Cura, for example, and I miss it there, and I use PVA.
Yep.
It's like, okay, I want support, and then I do the automatic thing.
Yep.
But then it's like
a lot of PVA.
It's like PVA everywhere, on top and above and everywhere.
Yeah,
and then this. Why?
So then like you got to think about what the problem is. I use too much PVA. So people like Prusa and the slicer that he's working on, they're working to make like PLA the support and then just the interface layers PVA. Like there's a lot of work done to hopefully not make, because to train people to do customizable support, I personally don't think is the answer. Like that we can argue either way, but like there's a lot of focus going on to making interface layers and support generation more automated and just work better. There are still cases where what you're describing are definitely true.
Yeah, and for example, if I at work and when I do a thing where we want to guide water into chambers,
hollow meshes,
and then I can choose between from bed or everywhere. And maybe I have like a part where I need support. There are some gasket or something that I can reach from outside. And then I just need to choose a bad print due to the reason that
you just defined the best reason to have customizable support, like fluidic paths inside that you can't reach.
And I only have one material to use. No,
you need customizable support. So your original question was why doesn't it exist more? MatterHackers, Matter Control development team was working to make the slicing support, the auto-generated stuff, way better. That's what we've been focused on over the last 3 years. Now we have a method for which to implement customizable supports. That's really hard graphically to implement unless you have these types of tools to do that. Yes, Simplify's done it, Idea Creator's done it. We've been focusing on making the 99% use case of just elegant supports that using clever interface layers and air gaps make removing supports not a problem.
I'm actually sorry.
One thing could be to, if you have it automatic generated, but you could go in there and delete.
Yes, that would be also helpful.
So right now we don't have the delete method, but we have a define parameters where you want it. So we won't auto-generate them in places that you don't need them. That's been our effort. I'm not saying
okay, but then I understand a little bit more maybe why.
I'm gonna be honest, it's been a while now since I've used custom supports on Simplify 3. First of all, I try to use more of the open source as much as possible. And I have to agree with David that I printed this very, very complex organic model from Sanix. He does these like really organic models in Cura, and it was really easy to remove supports. I think it's just a matter of finding the right settings and also the filament settings. Because slightly higher temperatures will also fuse the supports even more, making it harder to remove and less clean. So it's if you manage to find the right print temperatures, the right settings for the filament, the right settings for the separation distance, the amount of base layers or top layers for supports, the interface layers, you could get it. Granted, there will always be cases where I really didn't need supports in there, or oh man, I really needed supports there. But,
it's all about calibrating for the 99% use case. Yes, fluidic packs, totally different conversation, but it's all about tuning interface layers and air gap. If you calibrate those, your world is in a good place. Those are the only two settings for supports that need to be paid attention to. Similar to retraction, like you don't realize how much retraction can make a print look amazing or terrible. But if you dial in your retraction, and that's not like retraction for this machine, that's like retraction for this machine with this material. And one PLA has definitely got a potentially, PLA is pretty basic. Let's go to PETG. One PET different retraction setting, so you need to retune it that different. It's like a really good piece of material and go with it and not be scattered all over. Yeah, like calibrating those couple settings can change. I'm not going to jargon it up and say like, you know, beautiful life easier. You know, like spend some time to do the right things up front, and then we've got a bunch of guidance on like exactly how to dial in retraction. We've got a really good article. I think we shot a video this week to get in. A three article series on like how to design with supports in mind, those support settings. There's 2 articles on bed leveling. Like we try to have the tools and then the assets to make the most out of those tools. That's the hope. Any other questions? Hopefully we can be helpful. We care a lot about the community. It's you know, the community is very much the reason we're here today. Rep movement wilding, and that's really cool. We just want to like keep that being empowered. You guys are away, but hopefully because the internet exists, we can still be super helpful for you guys. And we'll work on opening something in Europe. It might be a couple years. Cool. Well, if that's it, that's all I got, guys. That's actually right on time. I don't know how that happened. We'll call it lucky. Well, thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. I've been hanging out at the Creative Tools booth if you want to come say hi. We got stickers, hopefully, that have been passed around. I have a couple t-shirts if you guys want to come get them. Or I don't want to carry them home. Cool. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it.
Cheers.
And legit, reach out however we can help. We're looking for opportunities to help. So give us those opportunities, or we're down to chat about pretty much anything. Cool.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.